Welcome to the Billings Public Schools Technology Tutorials. I'm showing you a series of tutorials comparing iOS 6 and iOS 7 on the iPad. So on the screen in front of you, you're seeing on the left-hand side an iPad 2 with iOS 6, and on the right-hand side, you're seeing an iPad 4th generation with iOS 7. In previous tutorials, I've shown you the difference between Spotlight and the lock screen. And in this tutorial, I'm going to show you the difference in the multitasking features of the iPad. So what apps you have up and running and how you can quit those apps. So on both devices, you still access your open apps the same way. There's two ways that you can do it. By the way, if you didn't know this, your apps do not quit merely because you go to the home screen on your iPad. Your apps actually stay open until you tell them to quit. So to find out to find out what apps you have up and running, you can do this two ways. On the iPad on the left, I'm going to double tap my home screen, so tap, tap, and you're going to see a little gray ribbon appear at the bottom of my screen. On the iPad on the right-hand side that's running iOS 7, I'm going to do what's called a multi-finger gesture. I'm going to take 4 fingers and I'm going to simultaneously swipe them up my screen. And now you can see the screens look completely different, but I've actually gotten into the same environment, which is showing me what apps I have up and running. So this is a great way to jump back and forth between open apps on your iPad. For example, if I were in Safari in iPad 6 and I wanted to jump to Google+, I could double tap my home button, jump to Google+, simply by tapping on it, and then that launches Google+. If my wireless connection wasn't so slow, there it comes. And then I can jump back by double tapping my home screen to my Safari, and so on and so forth. So that double tapping to reveal open apps is a great way to multitask, to have the apps up and running and jump back and forth between them. I have no idea how that Smurfs app got open on the left-hand side. I just want you all to know. No clue whatsoever. Okay, on the right-hand side is iOS 7, and notice that I double tapped my home screen, or I did the multi-finger gesture, and now what I see as far as open apps is kind of this floating set of windows, and then right below the windows is the icon for the app, so I can tell which app is up and running. I really like this because this is a super quick way to jump back and forth between apps that are open. So if I was in Safari, I can tap on Safari, and then if I wanted to jump to my calendar, I would multi-finger swipe up on that. Whoops, excuse me, I went the wrong way. And then I can just swipe to my calendar and tap on my calendar, and that will pull my calendar up as well. I think I really like this feature because to me, not only do I know what I'm jumping back and forth between, I'm not just looking at the app badge, but I'm actually seeing the window of the app when I'm moving around, so it's much easier for me to see what application I want to go back and forth between. The other thing is that's different between iOS 6 and iOS 7 with open apps is the way that you quit out of them. So in iOS 6, what we had to do to quit out of an open app was we actually had to take and stick our finger and press and hold on one of the apps until they would jiggle. So there we go, they're all jiggling. And then they would get the minus sign in the upper left-hand corner, and we would tap that minus sign to close any of our open apps, right? So I'm just going to tap my home button to stop those from jiggling. Well, now in iOS 7, what you can do is you put your finger on the app window that's when you're in this multitasking area, swipe upward, and notice how the window disappeared and the app badge disappeared as well. Well, here's what's really cool in my mind. In iOS 6, you could only close the apps by tapping on the minus sign. In iOS 7, I can take two fingers and I can swipe up on two individual apps and they will close. So if I wanted to quickly close all my apps I had open, I could take 2, 3 fingers, as many app windows as I could see in here, and I can swipe upward on them and quit all of them that I can get my fingers on simultaneously. So that's so much faster in my mind to get out of your apps. And just one tip of why would you want to quit out of your apps? Well, the more apps you have open, the more quickly your battery drains on your device. So you want to come in here and periodically close apps anyway, just to preserve your battery power. But this is a great way to see the uniqueness of iOS 7 and how Apple's done a really cool job of changing the features to make them a little bit more manageable for us. So that's one more difference between iOS 6 and iOS 7 is the multitasking and how you quit out of open apps.